Hello.
Hey.
We are live.
Sideways.
What's up, my friends?
Hey everyone. Just give it a moment before people hop on.
Classic live starter. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
That's how you start every live.
Now I say hey everybody. I know my skit.
Okay.
Okay.
What's up, Kevin?
Hey Kevin, me. Bring him on camera. I've never done that before.
Ooh, that'd be intense. I don't think he's ready for that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's little icons at the bottom too.
This
Wow.
is so fancy.
We could. The one time I tried to make us have like funny faces. It wasn't you and me, but it was someone else, and it just crashed the whole live. So.
Oh, that may not be worth it.
Yeah. You like our garden? It's growing. Look at we got some
so many peppers. going on.
jalapenos. It's getting spicy over here.
Serrano and poblano. Tomatoes.
All right.
Whoop, whoop.
Well, we're gonna make this video because a lot of us have relationships that are dead or very near dying. They're on their deathbed. They're about to.
Resurrection of the relationship.
Oh, we could title this that too.
Yeah.
Our relationship
R squared.
resurrectors. Okay.
We should own a company called that. Just kidding, we already have too many companies. Just
Okay.
kidding. No such thing as two things.
The purpose of this video is because last Saturday night, Jess and I had this really fruitful conversation. And there was a check back in that we like to do every other week. So twice a month, where we go over the principles by which our relationship is founded. Now one may ask, what's a principle? What is the purpose of this? What are you guys even talking about? Principles are simple truths that we agree to at the beginning of our relationship, such as the principle of do what's best for all, or the principle of self-honesty, or the principle of give as you would like to receive. We have 13 of them we agreed to, and then we've added at least 7 that include tracking finances, being transparent with how we spend our money, how we budget, just all sorts of things, all the stuff that you know runs through your mind and you don't have a clear agreement with your partner. That's what we discuss.
Yeah.
And it was Saturday night, there was a full moon, there was fireworks going off, it was 4th of July, and we were having a bonfire together. And it was in our calendar that, it's every other Saturday we check in with each other and we revisit those agreements. And just what do you see as the benefit of this and how it can breathe life into a relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. So it brings you back into your self-honesty and the structure and foundation that you agreed upon at the beginning. And if you don't come back and look and investigate and see if you're actually living out those agreements, you're falling apart. I mean, there's no way that if you haven't checked back with your agreements, or if you weren't even clear on your agreements in the first place, that you could be visibly living them out day to day.
Yeah, a lot of people get into a relationship because it's like, ooh, we met and the sparks flew, and
they're in a relationship to be in a relationship, not to build anything.
yeah, it's because you don't want to be alone or whatever your reason is. And we're not here to judge that. We're just here to show that there's a way you can make a really rock solid, sturdy relationship based on agreements, which is so cool because we know a few other couples who have done this and the results are phenomenal. Straight up, they're the most fun people that we spend time with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you haven't got clear on what is the agreement of your relationship, I highly suggest first do this with yourself. Don't go take notes on this video, then go to your partner when they're trying to fall asleep tonight and say, hey, we need to come up with our agreement. Rather, I would suggest get clear on your agreement first with yourself. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What are you not going to just let slide? Like is lying or dishonesty or
Withholding information because you think it will hurt the other person.
Yeah, exactly. That's so practical because, oh, what was it? We had something really good. It'll come back to me the
Which
other
one?
day.
There was several.
I know, it's pretty much every day. Oh, I was just asking her earlier tonight. Okay, so it's Monday today, and I'm a very busy person. This very practical example of what it looks like to not have a relationship die, rather have it thrive. Because I am very busy building businesses, doing a lot of things, especially during the week. And I noticed today I was just kind of direct with Jessica, which I'm usually very direct, but especially it was just, you could tell I was thinking about a lot, and she was offered to make me dinner, and I didn't really come up with many suggestions of what I wanted. And I just asked her, I said, hey Jess, do you think I'm too direct, or like, would you appreciate if I was less busy or something like that? And do you remember your response, Jess?
Yeah, I think I told you that. Well, you phrased it in a different way. But
Well, first I said, Jess, do you think I'm an asshole?
and I said, if you weren't honest, then I would think you were more of an asshole.
Yeah, like
And
if I wasn't direct with her.
I
she would think I'd
definitely
be more of an asshole.
appreciate being direct and not beating around the bush. That way I'm clear on like what he needs or where he's at, or like it's just like clear, straightforward communication, and it's not manipulation. It's just like plain as it is. And then with the what was the other part?
Then I was just, I
Am I
asked you,
too busy?
am I too busy? Yeah.
Or
Like,
you
not
phrased
am
it-
I too busy, but just, yeah, is this an issue? Because
Oh yeah, and then I said it would be an issue if you weren't busy, because then you weren't actually living out our agreement of like what we're striving to build and how we're wanting to impact and change the world. And if you're just sitting around being lazy and not doing anything, then we're not living out our agreement. And so I told him that I would be more upset if he wasn't busy than as opposed to him being busy.
So really hear this out is, on one hand, you could just kind of assume like, it's probably good. Like, we aren't in an argument, we aren't in a disagreement. Like, it's probably good. I'm probably not too busy, or it's not worth it to bring it up. Like, that's one way of doing it, where you just don't have the conversation. Don't do that. That's a slow death for
Never
your relationship.
assume.
Yeah, don't assume. You're way better off having that conversation. Don't go have the conversation when they're really busy. Like, use common sense when it's best to approach.
Definitely.
But start having these conversations, and it doesn't need to be a one-day overhaul everything, because quick changes like that aren't natural,
Yeah.
and it will likely backfire.
Yeah, another really cool thing that I've implemented is realizing he is very busy, and when he gets into the zone, I don't want to take him out of the zone unless it's something that's absolutely necessary. And so it's taking note of all that I would like to discuss with him after he's done being busy. Instead of shooting him a message, well, then he is going to become numb to getting messages, knowing like, oh, I don't have to worry about this right now, so I'm just going to look at it later. Well, what if it's something that I actually needed him to look at? So while he's busy, only sending necessary messages, and then having a list of everything else that you came up that you would like to discuss, and then actually following through and discussing those things and not burying them. That's been a really cool little life hack for me within the relationship, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then we both use Google Calendar. So if you don't have a calendar, I suggest if you have a Gmail account, set one up, because I mean, we both use this for our businesses and the different things that we're working on and different relationships, that we maintain and we want to build with people outside of just between us. And we set time in the calendar, so every Friday afternoon, we check in about one of our businesses. We talk about what's going good, what's not going good, what's coming in the week ahead, and really anything else we need support with. That's like a really great framework. It is a very, very solid framework of what's good, what's not good, and then it's really past, present, and future. So simple. But you'd be amazed when you do that for a few weeks in a row, and don't fall off the bandwagon. You may do it for 2 weeks, you're like, I'm good, and then you stop doing it. That's, again, how you die a slow death.
Mitch, can you differentiate for the people the weekly meeting and the bi-weekly meetings?
So the weekly meeting is specifically on one business. It's a project that we're both working on, and it's an education company, which involves a lot of sales, a lot of management, recruiting, all sorts of things, where Jess helps me with tons of different aspects of it, things that I don't want to put my attention on, and she can handle it and be on top of it. Then we keep a note. It's really cool. We each keep a note, and then Friday we know we have that meeting. So throughout the week, maybe she has a few questions, but they're not that urgent, because she knows in the back of her mind, Friday we're going to have that meeting. And even if something comes up Friday and we can't do it, well, we're going to end up doing it Saturday then. And we just trust each other with that. That trust is so wonderful. And then the bi-weekly meeting is different. Bi-weekly meeting has nothing to do with the business. We may touch on it, but the bi-weekly meeting is for us to go over that relationship agreement. And if
What does that meeting look like?
The relationship agreement one?
Yeah.
Well, we have a note where we have everything we agreed to, just on my phone. Nothing fancy. It's not like some spiral bound scroll, where you like, what if?
I mean, I have a notebook as well.
It's in the treasure chest, guarded by a troll.
We'll frame it someday.
Yeah.
But we'll have to be able to have an easy access frame because we're ever adding.
Yeah, exactly. So we just open up this note on our phone, and then just start the conversation. You say, hey, how are we doing with this? So the first principle is do what is best for all. And that basically means if you were to trade positions with anyone else in the world, are you acting in a way where you would want that done to you? It's like the golden rule in action. And so that's our main principle. And then the next one is self-honesty. Well, yes, obviously, are we being honest with each other? And even equally, and even more importantly, are we being honest with ourselves? And that goes so deep. And for anyone who's curious about the rest of the principles, we will share them with you. We can do more videos in the future on it.
And
this is to touch
just
on
quick,
this.
The framework of each statement that we bring up, we like to reflect on and just like go one at a time, like how we are doing personally with that principle, and then how we think we both are doing, and then how we think the other person is doing. So like what it's like very much so one and the sandwich, or the relationship as a whole, or however you want to frame
the
it.
relationship
Yeah.
sandwich.
So
It's like a dessert sandwich.
it's the best. But then the other person will go and they'll just talk about like how they feel they're doing within that principle and how they think the other person is doing. And just it's a really
and if you could use help with it.
Yeah, it's just a free-flowing conversation. And honestly, while you're bringing up those things and them really investigating and reflecting on that past week, a lot will come up last 2 weeks. And it's really within doing those meetings, having that self-honesty and really living your commitments within the meeting. And it's super cool to see what comes up. And like for me, I had a huge realization this last week of just like realizing I hadn't fully committed to what we were doing within small little things that I noticed, and that I hadn't seen it from the wider perspective until we were talking about it. And I was like speaking it out loud, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like in this moment, I now feel more committed to this than I did before, even though it is the same thing. And so it's just like really solidifying, and it's honestly like the best thing that you could do for a relationship, because then you're really reintegrating all the commitments that you did, and you're really building upon those and like having more realizations within them, and possibly like adding more agreements to it just by having a conversation about it. It's spectacular. And it's holding the other person accountable. Like if you have any back chat in the back of your head, like, hey, during the week, like I saw you sitting on your phone. Like I brought that up once.
Yeah.
And like we run like 3 businesses on our phones. Like there's obviously work to be done on our cellular devices, and work to be done from 5 a.m. until sometimes 10 p.m. or longer or earlier, and so really realizing that The relationship sandwich is brilliant. Realizing that we have to have that layer of trust that the other person is actually doing what's best in that moment for everything, and that the other person, well, especially me, I struggled with, like, for some reason it was ingrained that, like, Mitch didn't want to spend time with me, which was totally false.
Oh my God, that's so deep. Like, to really understand the implication of this is some subconscious shit that people aren't even aware of. That Jess, thankfully, she's done so much inner work on herself through doing the DIP and using TechnoTutor and things like that, where she was able to identify this thought. Where at night, I'm on my phone. I'm either going through Facebook Messenger or reading something or, you know, closing out my day. Where in her mind, deep in the depths of it, is thinking, maybe he's on his phone because he doesn't want to spend time with me.
Yeah.
And then she brought it up to me, and I didn't start laughing because, like, I know, like, that's very real, but I was like, oh my God, like, that's the like, as soon as I'm done with my stuff, I want to spend time with you. So, like, please don't think that. But think, if we had never brought that up, that's something it's still going. It never got resolved.
Yeah, right.
And there's so much stuff like that. So that's how you begin to breathe life into your relationship. Mm-hmm. Because after you've been together for a while, these things compound. It adds up. Seriously. And so that's how the relationship dies a slow death. It's like blankets get added onto the fire. And unless you're actively working to breathe life into it, it's not going to grow. It's kind of like a bank account. You have to make investments here and there, and putting it in the calendar is the easiest way I found to do it. Mm-hmm. And because then we have no excuse. We don't forget it, and by the end of the conversation, we're like even more in love with each other. It's phenomenal. Yeah. So if your relationship is dying, communication is key. Agreements are key, so that you are not just in your mind and not just experience them through feelings. You're actually physically living out your relationship. Because if you're not in the physical with your relationship, it never was real in the first place. Like, that's all just something you made up. Mm-hmm. And so you have to, like, physically live out your relationship in order for it to be alive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for those of you who are in a relationship or aspiring to be in one, first, highly suggest write out your own agreements. Jess is just scrolling through the things.
Making sure there's no comments.
It's just looking fun.
Oh. So sorry.
So get clear first on your own agreements within yourself. Mm-hmm. If you aren't clear on what you stand for, even simple stuff like, I want to be the best version of myself, or I aspire to leave a lasting impact that goes beyond my lifetime, or I just want to experience fulfillment, you know? Whatever that is, start with that. Write that down for yourself. We have a whole set of principles we would strongly encourage that you adopt because they're the best ones. Yet, everyone's coming from a different spot in life, so just start where you're at.
Yeah.
And write out those agreements first within yourself, then bring it up to your partner. Maybe it's over a nice meal, maybe, you know, it's over dessert or something fun, maybe you go on a walk, whatever's good, because it can get deep, but I promise you it's worth it.
Our meeting was how long last time?
Oh, it was probably 2.5 hours at least, 2.5 to 3 hours, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast because I was learning about myself, I was learning about her. So if you don't want a deep relationship and you're just cool with, like, not really connecting with your partner,
stop watching our videos.
Then don't watch any more of our videos and stop wasting your time.
And this is just the beginning, friends. We'll make lots more on lots of different topics that you can just reach out if you see there's more that you'd like us to touch on or expand on. Specifically the agreements, we'll for sure go into that. I think in each individual one of the core would be really good to go through how that's lived out. But friends, thanks for watching. Yeah, we'll post this, or I'll take Jess in here, so if you aren't friends with her, you can add her. I'll repost it. All right. Bye everyone. Have a good night.